success is just a funny thing. And you can build this thriving career and solve impossible problems before lunch and provide for people that you love and still find yourself wondering why the conversation is at home and it feels strained, why the connection isn't what it used to be, or why the people you're working so hard for somehow feel the farthest away. Here's a true: success at work should never cost you success at home. So today, if you are here to build a better relationship and be a more successful person in your life, we are so glad that you're here. Bruce, here we are. Let me spotlight you a little bit. Expert of the day here on my screen. And I'm so honored to be in the background and be the support. So if you folks have any questions, just feel free. You can private chat me or reach out to me in the chat. Bruce Graham here is the relationship detective, and he's the founder of the Complete Man Brotherhood, a place that helps successful men protect their leadership and the relationship that matters most to them. And I'm honored to bring Bruce up. It's all for you. Here we go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whatever part of the globe you're in. Fellas, I have met each and every one of you. Thank you. Several of you have actually filled out the Complete Man assessment, and I appreciate that and I respect. And let's see if we can't touch on some of the things that have you being here today. Just as a matter of introduction, the young lady in part of your screen over there, Cecilia, she is my romantic partner of the past 19 years. Thank you, Cecilia, for joining us today. What I'm hoping is that by the end of today, what you're going to get is a new definition of success for yourself. You're going to get 3 practical shifts you can begin making immediately, and you're going to get a renewed vision of what success is and the kind of legacy that you can leave for your family. It's not something about beating anybody up. It's about choosing, and it's not about choosing between your career and your family. Rather, it's about discovering that you can pursue excellence at work without sacrificing the people you love most. Just to introduce myself, many years ago, I experienced one of the greatest shocks of my life. My wife of 10 years unexpectedly left a note that she was leaving. And frankly, I didn't see it coming. Like many of you, I was working hard. I was building my career. I was paying the bills. I loved my wife. And I thought I was doing everything that a good husband was supposed to do. Problem was that I didn't do it in the way that she was looking for. She was a nurse. She worked rotating schedules. I was in finance at that time. I was building my fortune, and we were both succeeding, and I confused providing with being present with her. And frankly, I learned that my wife wasn't looking for a bigger house. She wasn't asking for a bigger paycheck. She was asking for me in time with me. She was asking for presence. And I did not understand that difference. For years, I told this story as something that happened to me. And today, I feel as if it's something that actually happened for me. It changed me. From that moment on, I started looking, what makes relationships work? And tonight, I'm hoping that you get some insights too. Success isn't what you achieve, it's who experiences you. So many men like us, we define success by promotions, by income, by accomplishments, and by being dependable. But our wives and our children, they don't experience us as our resume. They experience us as our presence or lack of it. You can give your family everything money can buy while unintentionally withholding the one thing they can never buy, and that's you and your presence. So being a provider is obviously honorable, but being present is transformational. So if sharing this one story keeps one family from experiencing what mine did, then every painful memory is worth it. Nicole, if you'll help me manage this conversation, I'm asking you all, If I asked your spouse or your loved one or your children what they're getting the most from you right now, what would they say your presence or your productivity is? Who's going to be courageous enough to go first?
Yeah, you can unmute or just come on the raise your hand. You wanna share the question again, Bruce?
Yeah. In the Complete Man Brotherhood, the goal is to create a safe space where it's okay to be authentic and open up. So the question is, if I asked your spouse or your children what they're getting most from you right now, what would they say? Would it be your presence or your productivity?
I'll go. It's Jared here.
Great.
My presence is extremely high right now. My productivity at my job is quite low, which is stresses me out, but that's the way it has to be right now.
And Jared, thank you, first of all, for speaking up. Can you say a little bit more about that?
My kids are grown up and on their own. My wife is has multiple issues right now, so I spend a lot of time taking care of her every day. And I get work done when I can. And that's just the reality.
Yeah, okay. And what would you say that is missing for your kids or your wife? Is it that the children you were saying that you were talking about?
Nothing missing except her, which I am managing best we can and restoring as best as possible.
Okay, and yet something is not as satisfying as you would like it to be, or am I reading that incorrectly?
So a lot of heavy responsibility. I'm exhausted. That's all.
I gotcha. I
She's,
got
she's pretty happy. So that's the goal.
knowing you as I know you, and you really are a very attentive, well-meaning individual and a man I admire greatly. Thank you for the way you're taking care of your wife.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So presence is a choice. It's like an executive's decision before it becomes a skill. Most men think when work slows down, when I finish this project, when I retire, when my wife gets better, then I'll have more time. But I think we all know life doesn't wait. Obviously, children grow up, marriages drift, relate our work slips, relationships are built in ordinary moments. Presence isn't measured in hours, it's measured in attention. And sometimes it seems like presence is taking priority over those normal areas for us. Is that more along your lines, Jared?
Yes, presence has to take priority now. That is correct.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to tell you about another moment that actually changed me forever. And it wasn't the day that my first marriage ended. I already told you that my wife left a note that she was leaving, and it was just that we didn't connect. I got married, I had a child, and I didn't do very well in getting that marriage off the ground. And so I was leaving, and it was the day that I had to stop the car and hold my 3-year-old son and explain that daddy wasn't going to be living at home anymore. So, how do you explain that to a little boy? He didn't understand marriage, he didn't understand separation. All he knew was that something important was changing, and he couldn't understand why, and he was sobbing. And as I looked into his eyes, one thought overwhelmed me. It wasn't just that I had lost my marriage. It was that my son is going to experience his father unlike how he had experienced him before. I would wake up in the morning and we would play together. I would be responsible for getting his meal. I would be with him until the babysitter came to take care of him. That was really our time together. And I wasn't going to have that time with him anymore. And that really got to me. Children don't spell love Time. They spell it Presence, presence. And I can't change the past, but I can help other men protect what matters most before they discover, perhaps too late, that some moments only come once. Now, what I did was I held him and I told him that I'm going to do my best to spend as much time as I can with you. And over the years, I took him out to dinner twice a week. During the week, I would then be with him until bedtime. I had him every other weekend. Eventually, I started teaching a Sunday school so that my weekend didn't come at 9 o'clock in the morning when I dropped him off, but that we could have lunch afterwards. So my son and I have been very close over the years, but it's not the same as when you wake up in the same house with your son. So I want to leave you with another question. Let me get my notes here. So we successful men, we know how to lead. And the question is, where is your leadership showing up? We know that Jared's is showing up in presence. For anybody else, is it in discipline? Is it in intentionality? Is it listening? Is it encouragement? Is it creating a vision together? And all of those are not just business skills. Those are actually leadership skills. One more time. Where is your leadership showing up?
So, can you share with everybody again the choices that you shared where their leadership is showing up?
It could be in vision that you set for yourself and your family. It could be the encouragement you provide, both at work and at home. Is it the active listening that you apply at work and home? Is it your intentionality, or is it the accountability and discipline with which you approach your life?
You have someone in here. So, Juan said listening is where he's seeing that come up.
Juan, can you say a little bit more about that? Tell us about you and your family and how listening is occurring. And if it's not with your family, where it's showing up.
I love to. Thank you for having me. Listening, but right now I live in a different country. My family's in the US. I'm here in Mexico. But I had the biggest blessing. Back in the day, I remember I used to pray to God. One of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to feed family once a year for Thanksgiving when I was in the US. When I came to Mexico, I had different opportunity to bless people, feed people on a consistent basis. And that's my neighbors around this neighborhood. Now I'm talking about 5 or 6 different kids that come over and they're just missing their parents. They don't have that love and the listening and all that stuff at home, but they get to come over and I get to feed them, not every single day, but at least 3 to 4 times per week. And I noticed that listening is one of the greatest things that they're missing at home. And not only that, but when we listen and we give them some kind of encouragement with the questions that they're asking and you can empower them, it puts them at a way different level. So that's my take on listening.
And that's beautiful, Juan. One of the things that I'd like you to share too is somebody might be thinking, what is this man doing with these children? And yet say something about their parents and how they respond to the leadership you're providing to their children.
That's a great question too. Yeah, because that has a lot to do with it too. And the good thing is, my neighbor next door, she's one of the moms to one of the kids, and his dad's not act. He's active, but he comes maybe once a week or something to visit the kid. So they're always next door. They're always there. They're always making sure that everything's good. And I try to make the best of whatever I have here to make sure that the parents are around. I got to meet the parents of the kids. So of course, if there's other kids that want to come over and I don't know their parents, they don't have the same, I don't know, the same privileges as the other kids because first of all, I don't know their parents. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they come from. So when we have other kids and I get to know their parents, it's a different story because we have a little relationship with the parents as well.
That's beautiful. Any of you other fellows, have you thought about this for a moment? Where's leadership showing up in your life?
Okay, I gonna talk on Cecilia, and my leadership showed up in my life, especially by example and discipline. I'm a school teacher, so still I have a lot of that behind in discipline and follow the a regular schedule, follow things, and it helped me a lot to get a lot done and a lot faster than I thought. So I've been very successful. I consider myself successful, following and being myself disciplined. To show by example that I need to do the work in order to show in order to show the other people, not by talking too much. So I used to talk a lot. So now I just more into lead by example. Please do for in my family, for instance, now I'm going through a new situation. I lost my mom and my dad and my sister. So it's a lot of struggle there because, and I want to keep my family together. So we need to keep going in family meetings and we remind ourselves that we love each other and refreshing love, send love, share the love instead of talking about love, share with them. And I'm being really, I had a good response from my sisters and my brothers. So I'm very happy that I am doing that. And I invite you to do the same thing, just share who you are. We don't want to say share all those thoughts that could be for people, could be that important. For me, are very important what I'm thinking. So share that you need them, share that you need to share love in the family. And there's many ways to express them. Just to listening to them, just to share your life with them. So it's been a really great experience to follow that route to be disciplined and guide by example. Thank you.
Cecily, thank you for speaking up. Let me ask you, can you share one point in creating quote family with your brothers and sisters where maybe you ran into a snag or a challenge or a roadblock? And what was your reaction initially? And then how did you overcome that?
Oh, I had a lot of those new experiences, and especially I have a sister who came to the United States, and I didn't really. I was very close to the one that died. My sister Consuelo died, so I was very close to her. So I was struggling. Now that my sister is gone, and my mom and my dad, it was very hard for me to open my heart and allowing her to get into my life. And for her was the same thing because I never shared too much of my life with her. She was in Colombia and I left Colombia 45 years ago, so we're not sharing that much. So I decided that I need to open myself and tell her that I love her. It was that I love her and I accept not seeing her to visit my mother. I live with my parents, so my parents were with me. So she didn't visit my mother as often as I wanted to. So I will be resentful to that, but I would not tell her that because I said with my mother, she has to show to my mom, not only to me, but to my mom and my father. So she is very cautious, independent, and very, so she doesn't show up too much. She didn't show up too much when my mom and my dad were alive, but I resented that. So now that they are gone, I've been struggling to open up to her. And I tell her that I love her and I want her to share the love that she had so we can be good sisters and we can live the life that we have the love, express our love. And nothing wrong expressing the love that we have in the family, even if she was not living with me before or I didn't see her for a long time. The experience is more, my sister had been reacting to me. She doesn't talk too much. Yes, it's all about texting. So she texts to me, says, okay, if we're going to have a meeting or something in the family, so just text me and say, okay, I'll be there. Show up at 5 o'clock. So it's she's very different in the way I am. So I'm learning with invited her in the other way, in promoting, be the person who organized the parties and be sure that she is invited and she feels important about it, even if it's very hard. Making her feel important because she's very important part in my life. So show people that you love them, even if it's hard when you see that they have different ways to show love. So now the family is more together. Now we go back to meetings together and we have fun and we still working on that. It's a working process, but I'm more committed to let them be who they are. My sister, I was like, she doesn't pay attention. She doesn't care, so I don't want to care. So now it's not, I want to show her what sheer love is. Sheer love is also to share the wins, not only the failure that we have in life, but the wins. And it's the way that I attract her, sharing the wins. And okay, so I'm inviting my sisters or brother sisters also to share 2 or 3 wins in the day. So we do that on the phone. Thank you.
And when you say you do that on the phone, every morning during the weekday, you talk with your sisters who are either in Colombia or the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those ones are far away, so we talk on the phone on a regular basis, 2 to 3 times a day. And not make them run if they're not going to cook or they are busy. Well, it's another day to call back. But I was not like that. I would like to
Now,
get you out. You want to show up.
now for the benefit of the gentleman of the call, as a woman's perspective, what is your take on how your brothers, she has 2 brothers, how your brothers are doing family?
My brothers, I have one here now. Okay, he's working. He's doing good stuff. Oh my God. He's talking me today. I want to show you what he's doing for me. My brother here, and he's bringing pictures over here for the station. So they've been helping me, and before it was very easy for me to ask them to do the work. So to ask them, unless I pay to people, I need to pay, not asking for people on their heart to support me. So now my older brother, was Henry, here now, he said that he will offer to help me to assemble the Thompson bar stool that I need from the kitchen. That when I'm remodeling a little bit this one, so he's doing that. And the other one is a little bit quiet. My other brother is Omar. Omar is very quiet, and I have been having a difficult time to invite him because also we've been very distant because he was in Colombia and I was in the United States. So I'm bringing them back, but it's not easy. But I know that a way to do is to not to give up. You keep inviting them, keep showing them love, they want to feel that they are important, and that we still the family, even if my mom and my dad are not here, and my sister.
Can I actually reframe it a little bit? And correct me if I'm wrong. The leadership for you is showing up in being clear, in being patient, in being understanding, but also making clear requests.
Correct. Perfect. You even it sounds like you and me. No? Yes, I like that. I like to express myself and tell what it's hard for me to ask people, come on, show love to the family, show that you care. So there's other ways to express that. Create the events, create that.
Okay, because show love is what does that mean? And yet now you're beginning to make clear requests about how they could show you their love. I think, guys, for the most part, we would love to know clearly what our women are asking for.
Yeah, we want your cooperation, your participation, not only with the money, we want participation with your presence. You are very important to us. If you are not there, we feel like it's not complete, the project that we have in mind.
I think, again, guys would say, I want your love. Great. What does that mean? I want to take care. I want to comply. How do I show you my love? Please let me know.
I think
Because one of the things that I have to, I'm going to say, navigate is I'm going to say my brief background. Yes, my parents are divorced, but I didn't get divorced till I was in my early 30s. But one of the concerns, to say it, how my wife has got a background of, well, say, depression, things like that, because she had her parents passed away when she was quite young, for example, to give you an idea. And one of the things when we had my son, and I've always said this from day one, is, and I do this, I actively encourage and there to support what, say, he wants to do, what she wants to do. If she says I can't do something when it gets in quite, the depression starts to kick in, I do sometimes describe it, give her a swift reminder to just get past it, get on with it. And certainly at home, I do have to sometimes step in a bit more. 'Cause on top of that, my son's also, he's on the autism. He's actually got autism. So we got with you, and but yeah, I've found, for example, he support my son with stuff he does. So he does martial arts. He in the choir, for example. So he gets opportunities galore from. I just find even if it's just I say, yes, I'm one of the extra adults that sits in on activities, but just being, even though he's a mini version of me, so he's the most sarcastic, throwing faces at me from the other side of a room. Sorry, in the church pews, I'm glad, for example. They know it, but they don't stop it. But yeah, that's just, I find it's a support thing. And I always say to him, just don't let it stop you like the martial arts. He's not the best at what he does, but it's the effort he makes. And when he does do well, so he does do the competitions, he does do the belts, for example. He's not left out of anything.
Beautiful, Tim. So where would you say in those categories, where would you say your leadership, obviously it's showing up, but where would you specifically say you're showing up with your leadership?
Mostly for me, it's when I have to do the encouragement side, because yeah, my wife's history of having clinical depression that she still fights to this day. Most people don't realise. So when she goes quiet, I have to jump in sometimes. Even my sister, my mum, and all have to. Sometimes I don't just kick her out, as we joke and we say sometimes, we just reinforce, I think, or just be on the phone for her. But yeah, it's just more then, because sometimes I've got two of them I've got to try and snap out of it. My son's having, it's just been a busy day as he's coming up to exams, because he's 13, the serious part of school when it's all the exam stuff coming up, for example, and they get ready for that. Yeah.
Nobody said it was going to be easy, but it makes life really interesting, doesn't it?
That's one way to describe it. Yeah.
Congratulations, Tim. I remember one time I took my son out, and he was 16 at this time, and I took him out twice a week and stuff like that. It was a period where he was beginning to complain about his mother. And my whole thing is that we would be like the marital dyad, that he couldn't split us and stuff like that. And he didn't really do that to an extent. Everybody does to some extent. But he was really complaining at dinner about my mom this and my mom that, da, da, da. And so it came time for me to take him home so he could do his homework. And I was paying the check, and he went to the washroom. He comes out of the washroom and says, "Dad, can I tell you something?" And I said, "Sure, you can tell me anything." He says, "I wouldn't want any other mother than the one I have." I said, "Why are you saying that? You were just so upset with her at dinner." He says, "We're 16 and most of us are becoming bigger than our mothers, and we don't have to be afraid of them anymore. And some of my friends are actually saying F you to their mothers. And my mother would never tolerate that. I really respect her for that. So that's why I wouldn't want any mother other than the one that I have." And I said, "Are you going to tell your mom?" I said, "No." I, "Oh, okay." But I told her later, and she said, "Why didn't he tell me?" And I said, "Well, there are times when you tell him how proud you are." And she says, "I shouldn't have to. I'm his mother." They got each other, but I was very proud of how my son was beginning to think about her responsibility, my responsibility, and how he fits there with his leadership and his followership too. Everything you do makes a difference, Tim. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now I asked Cecilia if I could tell this story, and she said, yes. I met Cecilia and we're together 19 years. And she told you that she was a school teacher. So she was used to getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go to school. And I've been a private investigator. My dad was a private investigator. A lot of times we don't leave the house until 11 o'clock in the morning because you got to catch people when they could talk to you, when they're at lunch. Later, you're talking to them at their dinner hour. So we don't get home until 11, 12 o'clock at night on a lot of occasions. And I was a late night person. She was an early morning person. And she would say, honey, are you ready to go to bed? I'm like, no. Just very bluntly, you're asking me if I'm ready to go to bed. No, I'm not ready to go to bed. And I never could understand that. It's like, don't you know already? I'm not an early morning person. And one day she came to me and she said, you know what? I sleep much better when I'm beside you. And given my history of learning about presence and the difference it makes, I took it to heart. And I said, she's telling me that it makes a difference. So I negotiated. I said, if I come to bed and I'm not really tired, can I just hold you and maybe turn on TV? Now, I know a TV might keep you up, but if I turn the volume on down low, would that be okay? And she said, I think so. We could try that. And from that day, and that was probably 7 years ago, it's made a huge difference in our relationship, knowing that I'm there to attend to something that really makes a difference for my love. It's like, okay, that's part of my commitment. That's part of my mission in life. I sleep much better. And there are times I actually fall asleep. A lot of times I will get up, but most of the time I really fall asleep with her and she falls asleep a little bit before I do. So anyhow, finding out what the two of you are committed to and then navigating a pathway that works for everybody. You can't really ask for any better. I was talking with my friend this morning and he's worked in corporate America. I've been more of an entrepreneur all my life. So I asked him, I said, Rich, some people are star athletes. Some people are successful entertainers and they travel. And some of them might have a child like Tim on the autism spectrum or ADHD or something like that. And the wife is at home. And she says, you're never here when I need you. And my buddy says to me, Bruce, that's just like a business. That's an executive decision. You got to map out, where are you going? You two, where are you going together? And how do you navigate these challenges that come up? And basically, you agree and then you you review and you reset if it's necessary. But that's just like in corporate America. That's an executive decision. So I notice, again, like with Cecilia, we made an executive decision. And frankly, it works. And basically, one of the other things is that, like a lot of other couples, when you're just getting together with each other, it's either my way or your way. And if I get my way, you lose. If you get your way, I lose. And we did a number of those at the early part of our living together. And frankly, I realized that every time I win a battle, I risk losing the war. And every time Cecilia wins a battle at my expense, she risks losing the war. So we decided that it's not you and your way. It's not me and my way. We are protecting our creation, just like parents create and protect their children. Our creation is our relationship. We never had children together, but we intentionally create our relationship. And so if we're at loggerheads for a moment, one of us says, relationship. And that's the call back to, hey, I'm giving up being so committed to having my way. You're giving up. And then how are we going to navigate it? so that the relationship succeeds. I'm like thrilled to share that with you guys. I'd like to hear from anybody else. What strategies have you had to invent and what challenges actually created the opportunity for that?
You guys can just unmute or raise your digital hand or your physical hand.
Okay.
There you go, one.
Yeah, you know what? I like the executive decision things, and I like how we compare to things that we have done in the past. For example, now that I'm in digital marketing and I'm learning everything about CRMs and things like that, somehow my mind always takes me back to the early days of the swimming pool industry, learning how to do the plumbing, learning how to do electrical work. Is when you don't understand how to do a project, especially when it came to electrical work. I didn't go to school to learn how to be an electrician. I learned it doing it with my hands and being on the job site. And when I first started learning how to do it, nobody told me this is line one, this is line two. If you touch this, this can kill you. Nobody told me that. But I knew it was kind of like risky. I didn't know where the power was coming from. I didn't know how to turn it off. But within time, it's like I started learning. I'm like, "Ooh, this is the hot wireless." I figured out where to turn it off and how to lead that thingy to where it needs to be. And when you have a swimming pool, you're telling the pumps, the lights, and all the things, beautiful things that we see in the back of the pool. We tell them what to do, but we have to program the thing and tell it what to do, or what time to turn on, or how to turn it off, and all the good stuff. And it's the same thing with the relationships. And I found out the hard way because I had many failed relationships with my significant others. But at the end of the day, it was mostly me. I was mostly the problem in some of those relationships. First of all, we didn't have a end goal in mind. And so it was always, anytime we had something like that, we're trying to fight with the hot wire, the load side of the thingy, when it was supposed to be like, how do we find an outlet for this problem that we're having with the situation? And like I said, I was always trying to put up a fight, like fighting two hot wires. But when you like, okay, no, you're going to go here, the outlet's going to be here. Now you can turn on the switch and turn it back on and off whenever you want. And one of the things that I love with working with Bruce is that we all have blind spots. And when you don't know where the blind spot's coming from, you're always going to be in fight mode. And sometimes it's not always about fighting, it's trying to find out that solution. And I remember meeting Bruce, 3 years ago, maybe going on 4 years now. My thing was always like, Bruce, I don't have a high school diploma. I don't have the skills. I don't have no talents. But because Bruce has been out there in the world longer than I have, he knows, like, he knew exactly where I was going with my negative mindset. And once he helped me kind of turn that switch and be like, no, you're fighting with the load side. This is how you do the outlet. Focus on the good things that you have going on for you. Bruce has made a big difference for me just talking about the blind spot. So thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Juan. And just for everybody's edification, it started that way. And as we got into internet marketing, social media marketing, Juan is really a coach for me today. What I noticed was that just like Cecilia's brother, Omar, they look at things like an investigator looks at a case file and says, okay, where is my starting point? Where can I grab a hold of what I'm seeking? And I look at Juan and I look at Omar, if he's going to do a house repair or something, and they just sit there and they gaze at the object and stuff like that. And then they come back the next day and they say, let me show you what I found out. And I have benefited so greatly from Juan's discoveries. Everything that he shows me creates an opportunity to move light years ahead. It's like I had Juan as my AI before AI came out. So thank you, Juan. Yeah. And I'm glad that years ago, I did this program, it's a transformational program called Landmark Education Landmark Forum. And it was day one. I was there because I joined an entrepreneurs group. And they said within 2 months of joining the entrepreneurs group, you have to do the Landmark Forum. I'd gone to an introduction. I used to be a psychotherapist too, and I had led group therapy. And I'm like, oh crap, this is group psychotherapy. I don't really want to do this. And I said, guys, can I give you the tuition? Therefore, I'm a member. And they said, no, we want to know when you support us the way we support each other, and you'll learn how to do that in landmark work. And I was like, okay, didn't want to be there, but that's fine. So I said, it looked like a cult to me. I walked into a room of 175 people, little Indian guy, maybe 5'4", walked in. He was a leader. And I thought, yep, it's a cult. And he says, I want to know who is here under pressure. And I'm going to define pressure as somebody told you they can do something to you or take something away from you if you do not do the landmark forum. So about 7 of us stood up because the entrepreneurs group said that you can't join if you don't do the landmark forum. I didn't feel any really active pressure, but by definition, it was like, okay. So he said, all right, I'm going to start with somebody in the front row. And this man says, my wife just did the landmark forum. She lives in Los Angeles. I live in Chicago. She called me. She says, we've been separated. If you don't do the landmark forum, I'm going through with our divorce. So the forum leader said, seems like pressure. And then he worked with him to see where pressure comes from. And it's internally generated. If he didn't care about his wife, it wouldn't be pressure. But because he loved his wife, then it occurred as pressure. I sit down, and one woman off to the side, a couple rows back, she says, I don't think I know how to think because I don't get it. And he says, you are right. You don't know how to think. And my hand went up right away because I'm not going to let anybody attack somebody else. I didn't know her, I didn't know him, and he's motioning me to please be patient. He's working with her for a little while. And then he says, where did you go to school? And she says, University of Wisconsin at Madison. He says, because I want to know where not to send my children. And my hand goes up. And he motions me, please. So the two of them work for about 10 more minutes. And she seems to get it. And she sits down. Then, of course, my hand goes up. And he says, yes. I said, my impression is, and I know it's only my impression is you just insulted that woman. He said, why? What did I say? I said, you told her she doesn't know how to think, right? I didn't mishear that, right? He says, yeah. And then you wanted to know where she went to school, so you'll know where not to send your children. You did say that, didn't you? I says, yes. And then he walked around the room, and he stood right in front of me, and he says, I am only a little brown man making noise. So I started to smile. I said, no, please stand up. He says, you were smiling. Tell us why. I said, I get it. I get it. You really are just a little brown man making noise. And if I like your noise, I'm free to take it. If I don't like your noise, I don't have to do anything with it. And I get it. It's okay. Sit down. Thank you. And that occurrence was in 1993. So what is that? 33 years ago? It has made the most profound difference in my life that I don't have to fight other people's noise. I can actually begin to listen to them. And that's what I'm hoping everybody, because I know I read some of the assessments, and thank you for taking those assessments. You guys are dealing with some real challenges. So I salute you for taking on figuring out what can you do to make a difference. So I'm hoping that by the end of our session, you're going to begin to think that to succeed without sacrifice follows kind of a threefold path. Number one is awareness. I have a challenge, and I am a leader, and that success at work alone is not enough. And number two, ownership. You know, the old thing about if it is to be, it's up to me. And that presence, this is always not enough, but the thing you're choosing is a daily choice. And vision that leadership begins at home, and it's your greatest legacy. Before I close this masterclass, we still have about 35 minutes. And frankly, I'd like to hear from some of you who've been sitting back and listening. I know we had Barry here, but I think he disappeared. Al, is there anything Hi.
I
So,
was being quiet and listening attentively.
yeah, please
because
tell us. Yeah.
because it's in a relationship is you need two hands to clap. One hand it does not clap by itself. So eventually it's always a communication. The wife has a communication, the husband, and each of them has to communicate well. If one person is talking about money and finances, another one is talking about love. So it does not click in that sense.
Ah,
So both ways you need to compromise, in such a way that in order to maintain a healthy, well balanced relationship, to avoid all arguments. Of course, in life, nothing is like a bed of roses. So husband and wife always comes with lots of arguments. And over time, we just need to learn about the wisdom of, like you're saying, relationship needs to come to understanding that we have to somehow, if somebody is shouting, you just have to walk away or just be quiet and just listen rather than vent their anger or their frustration against you. If you're fighting against each other and you shout back here and there, eventually the harmony dissipates. So the family will come into a situation where one person will walk off and another person will come back and all that. Or maybe they find another route, another route to seek elsewhere, other relationships and all that. And it's not giving us that vibe, the vibe that is helping us in a way. Yeah. So eventually, what you say, awareness is important. Yeah. The threefold path. Buddha, they have the fold path. Yes. In the Buddhism, yeah. So what you have come out with the threefold path is actually very, very essential enough for us. Yeah. So and yeah, I would say yeah, the Spanish say mi casa es su casa, and your home is like my home. So this is what I would say. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you.
yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. So, how long has it been like that for you?
Sometimes this issue is always coming up and down, and it's always a roller coaster, and I never always feel harmonious case. It's just that, like in relationship, we will have our own space. If I come on summits like this in the middle of the night, for me, so she has her own space and I have her own things, and she doesn't even come to Zoom, come together with me and all that. Because basically, she has her own thing to do. We have that and mutual understanding that. So you listen to her own YouTube videos and all that. For me, I love live summits and live discussions like that, because it improves our mind and always be positive in our thoughts every day.
Yeah. And thank you again. Have you ever, with your wife, had some head butting moment and then something miraculous has occurred and all the emotion dissipated and you had relatedness? Was ever
Yeah, of course.
everything? Yeah.
Because sometimes I would just crack a joke and then she would just start laughing loudly and all that. Then eventually the anger and all that really softened down. Sometimes you bring a different type of thing to come in and the entire thing will just sort out and neutralize this by itself.
Wow. Wow. And have you found any ways to build on that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, in life you just have to you just close one eye on certain things. You cannot be too picky on certain things. If you are too picky on certain things, then yeah, the things will not go in the rhythm that you want.
And you are a talent agent.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Wow. How did you choose that?
Or it just come by by nature, yeah. Because I went into acting and about 15 years back. And then later on I built my own talent pool and eventually I have to work with many people from all walks of life. Yeah. And you can and in my country it's a melting pot of culture. So there's so many different races like Chinese, Indian, Muslims, our differences and all that as well. And that's why human beings is a very complicated. So sometimes the little words like WhatsApp will just talk them off and all that. Yeah. And so I learn over time that you can just have to be understanding to their culture or whatever their language. So if you want to talk, let them talk. So you just have to be very careful in our writing as well.
Okay. So, where does leadership show up best for you in your work, in your family? Because it sounds like leadership has to be present with type of work you do and type of family.
Yes, it has to be cohesive in both ways. whether it's family, that we take the lead when we go on. For me, for a vacation, I always plan out the vacation, like where I want to go, and then I take my family along. I just have to follow. I say, oh, let's go for this place. We have to come to a mutual agreement that okay, this is a good place to go to, like exotic place. Just fly off to that place and just do all the planning. The leader, we have to be on top of things. Yeah. So just plan well and let the flow goes along with it. And same with the business that I'm running. So if I don't, because I'm a solopreneur, I do all the business by myself. So actually, I have to lead. I lead the people and to make sure that the talent goes on time for the shoots and make sure that they don't miss out. They practice the dialogue before they go for the shoots and everything so that they don't just make the directors or the producers or the client disappointed and all that. So you have to take the lead.
You carry a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
That's right.
I saw Juan put something in chat. Are you open to interacting with Juan? Juan, speak up.
Yo, can you hear me? See, now I like when he said it's important to give people an outlet and give them the space to talk it out. A lot of times people are looking for, they're under so much pressure. And when they find meetings like this ones we have here, we give people the space to release all that negative energy or whatever energy they're carrying. But when you give people that space, it makes a big difference. And as this conversation was going and I was still thinking about the electricity, when anytime you have two of the same, like two hot wires touching each other, there's gonna be resistance, and you're never gonna have the end result, which is power. You want to power up your house, you want lights in your house, but you keep on touching those positive wires, it's just gonna spark every time. So you gotta find one, that inlet and the outlet and resistance, and giving people the space to talk it out, and giving the people the space to release all the energy. That was my 2 cents.
Thank you both. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening and being open to it, Al. I always like to think 20 years from now, your children, your spouse, what would they say about you?
For me, it's always like you made a difference for me. When I was living back in the day, this is maybe 20, 25 years ago, I had another set of neighbors, and we used to have the little basketball court in the back of our house. And we always used to play, and they're like younger than me. And they're like, one of them came back like 10, 15 years later. Hey, Juan, how come you always let us win when we were playing basketball? We couldn't beat you, but you always let us win. I told him it was simple. If anytime I'm out there playing, if I beat everybody, then at the end of the day, I'm not going to have anybody else to play with. So like, I want to give them a space where they can win. They can feel that what it feels to win. Because I've been through school, I gone to elementary. I know how competitive it gets out there. And when people get to choose different teams and you're the last one to be picked, I've been there. I've done that. Like, I don't want to play. I don't want to be part of that group. I don't want to be part of your mastermind. But when you give people a chance to win, especially as they're growing up, it makes a big difference. So I always want to be remembered for something like that 20 years down the road. And you know what, with the kids that we have here, like I asked them before, how come you guys choose to come here? And you guys grew up in this neighborhood. I've been here maybe for 2 going on 3 years now. But for some reason, they chose me. They're like, well, they want to be here. They don't want to be at home. They don't want to be with their neighbors. They'd rather go 5, 6 houses down the road to spend time with me. Why? Why is that? So it's always like, you're always going to find, your tribe is always going to find you wherever you're at. And it doesn't matter where you go. People are going to find you. They're going to find something good about you.
Wow, it's interesting, Juan, what you just said, because made me present that what I do is I want to help people. I want to help everybody. I want to help. I want to be the right there. And this comes back from my younger years when I say to myself, I'm alone. I need to, if I want to survive, if I want to get ahead in life, I got to do it on my own. So I don't want them to go through that process. So I want to facilitate, help them to be successful without struggling that much, without the struggle that not knowing who you're going to have with. So that's maybe to my mind now. That's who I am being for people, trying to give a hand whenever I can. We know no nothing back. But in the moment that we need the help, give them the support. And I've been happy nice doing that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, I put you on the spot. What would you say about me 20 years from today?
No,
You
yeah, I
did
think I
not
can.
prepare that.
Mhm. I will say that you gave me the opportunity to express myself and to be who I am, to be express myself and be present that I can make that I decide my life. That my side is not about other people. I decide who I want to be in life. I am the actor of my life. I am the leader of my life. It's not about the circumstances that I had before or that I'm facing now. It's who I'm planning to be today. So having control, and so I will say that you gave me that path to walk straight without hesitation that I am a leader inside me. And I'm
Right.
learning a lot. I was in landmark with Bruce, and I learned that. And you guys in the conversation helped me a lot to see that today. When somebody, you cannot understand somebody, you want to talk, you have your partner, you cannot, the best thing to do, and I'm not doing it, let me tell you, I just present to that, I want to do it. Where when you talk, when somebody's talking, just think on the words. Think what the person is saying to you. Think what he wants or she wants. And try to first, before you give your opinion, agree with the person who use or what they repeat, even you use the same words. Or you are saying that you don't feel listening when you're talking to me. I respect that and I agree that this is what you're trying to say. So that's also just you helping me with that one, no? Not react right away, but respond to the person. So that's been a lot of help for me. And I'm committed to do that. And I'm just listen and just agree, feeling compassion for the person that is talking, that is open up. The person that is opening up is struggling. So what a beautiful thing to say, okay, so you are saying that you are not listened to because I do this and do that. Is that correct? So the person says, yes. So once you agree with the person says yes, they give you the room for you to speak up. And I love that course. So thank you. You've been a lot of good things.
I love that too. I learned that at Landmark. I coached for many years. I coached coaches there. And my son, he's now 36, but this is when he was 8 years old. And I took him bowling and he was bowling gutter ball after gutter ball. And I said, Jeremy, all you have to do is move, Dad, leave me alone. And we've been taught that there is no coaching if there is no listening. I was like, okay. So I let him cool off. And I said, Jeremy, I will not coach you unless you ask me to. But I have something that can dramatically improve your game. So when you're ready, if you're ready, ask me and I'll let you know. And he went a couple more frames and gutter ball. And he said, all right, you can coach me. I said, only if you really want it. He says, yeah. So I told him, don't change your stance. Just move 2 steps to the right and do everything exactly the way you were doing it. But you got to be 2 steps to the right. And he doubled his best game. And he was so excited. Next week, I took him and a boyfriend of his, Mason. And Mason was bowling gutter ball after gutter ball. And Jeremy says, Mason, my dad has some advice could dramatically improve your game, but he will not share it unless you ask him. So like the kid got it. Yeah. A lot of times we want to give advice or we want to correct somebody, but somebody's not really ready to hear what we have to say. So there has to be listening. I'm going to tell you another little vignette. One time I was a head coach and I had a new cohort of coaches, and there was this one beautiful Chinese girl, who's very successful. She's a realtor and stuff like that. And she wouldn't talk to me about her 5 participants. And it was a time limited program where each person was creating their own project. And the first time we were supposed to call, how's so? It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Anything else you want to share? No. So the leaders of the program, they were friends of mine. I said, Bruce, you got to do something to get her open up because her participants deserve that. So the next time we talked, I said, I'm going to call her Janet. Janet, if there's anything that you could say to me without any repercussions whatsoever, what would you say? And she checks. She goes, no repercussions. I said, absolutely no repercussions. Good. You effing arrogant man, you don't give a shit about anybody other than yourselves, and all you want is the information, and you don't care about me, and blah, blah, blah. So like Cecilia said, I recreated her. So, okay, let me see if I got this straight. I'm an arrogant, effing Caucasian man, and I only care about me and what I'm up to, and I don't really care about you. Is that correct? She goes, yeah. So if I did care about you, what would I be asking you? What would I be learning about you? You'd learn that I live with my fiance and his parents are from Southern Illinois. They're going to come up and stay with us. And I know his dad's a bigot and he's going to want to break us up. And I am scared to death. So, okay, so my understanding is that you live with your boyfriend, your fiance, and your parents, your future in-laws. And if our coaching from now on was only about you'll create a profound relatedness with your future in-laws, would that make a difference for you? She said, yes. She said, okay, then that's the basis on which we'll coach. I said, oh, great. Do you want to hear about how my participants are doing? I said, okay, yeah. So that was, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I could still call her up today and we can have a great conversation. But it really taught me that to create the listening, you have to be willing to hear what the other person gives you. Because I promise you, it's not about you. It's not about you, about something in their lives that's really pressing on them. But it's not necessarily about you. So that's why I created the brotherhood. I know for guys, a lot of times we're not taught how to be caring family members. I want to acknowledge, Tim, that you really are giving time and attention to your son. And I think that's beautiful. You know, I got your struggles and stuff like that. And I don't know how many years you've been married, but it sounds like it's been a while. So I acknowledge you for that and really for you guys showing up. I've had a best buddy who's been my best buddy since, what is it, 1979, 80 or something. So that's 46 years. And we still talk on a weekly basis and we've learned so much from each other. There's some real benefit to the brotherhood. There's something about being able to talk with another guy, knowing that he's been through either the same thing or something very similar. And we have standards that we don't want to know it all coming in because that's not what people are seeking. That there's a clear path to be in the brotherhood. It would be twice a month meetings. You'd have access to me in between. We'd figure out what are you working on. And then not only would you have me, but you would have the other men in the brotherhood. The timing for that, we're meeting twice a month. The initial cost is for 6 months, it's $1,000 a month. It's the lowest it's ever going to be because just like this, we're working out the glitches and stuff like that. So it's a founding opportunity, and those who accept and enroll themselves into the founding opportunity would have founder status inside the brotherhood. Nicole is saying, oh, she put something in the chat. So founding status means that you're going to have lifetime recognition as a founding member. And that means you have priority to access every future live training and private sessions. You're going to have exclusive founders only updates and content drops, early access to all future programs, events, and expansions, and special consideration for leadership roles inside the community as we grow. So not just about membership, it's about positioning. As the brotherhood expands, founders will always be recognized as the men who said yes when it mattered most. And for those who aren't sure yet what their next step is, that's fine. Sometimes I dip my toe in the water too, figure out what I want to do. If you have questions and if you're uncertain, please reach out to me and book a call. In private, we can figure out what you want, what's the best path for you. It won't be a sales call. It's going to be a clarity call to get your conversation, your questions answered. We're going to talk about you, where you're at, what's holding you back from achieving what you really want, and see if the brotherhood is the right next step for you. If not, we'll have some other alternatives. I'm creating monthly meetings like this. This is the first one that is free. The future ones will be $9.97. We'll go for longer. We'll go more in depth. And Nicole put in the chat about taking the assessment. Everybody here is taking the assessment. Nicole, chime in if there's something that you're trying to remind me. Yeah, please step in.
Sure, of course. With this great group and the connection that you received here today from Bruce, this is how you kick it up a notch. And somebody that has the success in their relationship, the wonderful success that he has shared with Cecilia. And of course, she came in here to share the testimony. This is what you get with the monthly mastermind is the 2 times the meeting with other like-minded individuals, other men that are looking for in creating that success in their life. And Bruce, also, I've shared the link for you for the discovery call. I've shared the assessment in here, as you stated, and also that first group mastermind that you're going to have on August 19th. It starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is if people can't attend or they're not ready to sign up, but perhaps you want to take some questions that anybody has.
Gentlemen, lady, I'm open for questions.
Definitely questions, comments, concerns, or questions about what is this going to do for you in the long term. It is a bit of a long term commitment. Maybe you have some solutions that you can share with people or walk them through what that mastermind looks like.
Okay, I got to share something about coaching because this lesson here made the biggest difference for me in my life, and it was understanding the concept of the stick person that was taught by Mr. Bob Proctor. And when I first took those lessons, it was when I did it on my own. I was like, yeah, no, yeah, coaching. But when I started working, this is when I first met Bruce and Sissy, and we had this mastermind meetings. We had them once a week, and one of the things that I learned with Bruce is building that muscle memory. You don't build the muscle memory by showing up once, twice, but we did it over and over. We did different lessons, different exercises. And I just remember one day it was like all of a sudden I was in the kitchen and all of a sudden the stick person, the breakthrough just came. It was like, whoa, what just happened? But that was like that was like the turning point for everything that I have ever done in the past and everything that I was doing in the future and the people that I was associated with. And like I said, working with Bruce and meeting with Bruce and having the opportunity to talk with him on a weekly basis, it made the biggest difference for me. So it's like last time we were on a call with Bruce, we are doing something online, trying to connect some things on the CRM. Like, Bruce, we're just building that muscle memory, muscle memory. But that's one of the things that Bob Proctor used to talk about, building that muscle memory, repetition. Repetition is the mother of learning. And I love how you created the brotherhood groups because it's just finding a group of men that are relatable with each other. And when we build that relationship with each other, that's when great things can happen. So those are my 2 cents.
Thank you.
So,
Has anybody else ever been in a mastermind before?
Yeah, if you want to share the expectations of what you're going to share in your mastermind, perhaps walking people through that with what it's going to look like, even that time you meet for the first time in the group.
Okay, would that make a difference for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So we have, it's called the Complete Man Discovery Path. And the goal in each meeting is to, number one, establish safety. So build trust and psychological safety, knowing that what you share is private, not open to ridicule. So it's a safe place. You're among successful men. It's not therapy. No one's here to judge you. We're here to understand what's really happening. So we create a confidential, judgment-free environment and build rapport and earn your trust. Then step two is we establish the mission. And like everything, clarity creates an opportunity for purpose and possibility. I'm going to read from the documents. Our mission is simple: help you become the same leader at home that everyone already respects you for at work. That's why we are here. And why should I care? And what's possible for you? Then we set the scene. So let's go to the moment things began to change in a relationship. It could be with your spouse, it could be with your children, it could maybe be at work or with your best friend. Okay. When did you first realize something was changing? That's that awareness. And what happened and what were you hoping would happen? And then what happened instead? That's like me with my coach when I was head coaching. What happened instead? And this gets out of theory and into real moments. At the meetings, next is gather evidence. We collect facts, not opinions, much like at Vistage meetings. They go around the room and they just ask questions. They look to understand what that CEO was dealing with before and offering any suggestions. So it's questions and clarification. Evidence reveals reality. We look at the facts. When was the last meaningful conversation you had with your wife or your children? Who do your children go to first, your wife or to you, your grandparents? How often do you eat dinner together? When did your wife last genuinely smile because of something you did? Then we get into discover the patterns. So identifying the root to begin to take a look at how the drift is occurring. We look for motive and patterns. You might be, I solve problems instead of listening. I manage employees better than emotion. I become efficient instead of present. And I bring my work identity home. So, as I like to say, in any investigation, the issue is rarely the issue. Then we move into identifying missing witnesses. So we reveal blind spots. So every investigation has witnesses, so does your life. What would your wife say? What would your son say? What would your daughter say? What would your closest friends say? What would your 18-year-old self say? And what would your 80-year-old self wish you knew before it was too late? Step 7 is present the findings. We share insights without judgment. We present the evidence. You draw your own conclusions. We'll say the evidence suggests. You might say, I'm noticing. You might say the pattern appears to be blah, 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 blah. So no accusations, only clarity. And then step 8, create the new case. Investigate the future, not the past. So let's open a new investigation, your future. What kind of husband or father do you intend to become? What kind of leader of self? And what would success look like 1 year from today? Then 9, we build the case plan. We commit to action and accountability. Every case needs a plan. This is yours. Your complete man compass. and we have that. Weekly commitments and daily habits, brotherhood accountability, leadership challenges, and we celebrate small wins that are building your momentum. And then we keep the case open until it's complete. Transformation is the only closure. We don't close your case till the evidence supports change. That might mean your wife experiences a different husband, your children experience a different father, and you experience yourself as the man you've always intended to become. Then and only then, case closed. And then, if you want, you can step into leadership and support other men along the same journey. So that's the complete man discovery path. Any comments?
Bruce, I did put some of the solutions that they might discover that you have shared with me as well in the chat. Some of these hidden reasons the family drift apart. So you're offering a lot of solutions in there with what you just shared, which are just very powerful.
Great. And we have pamphlets too about one of them, like when your wife says, for instance, we need to talk, how you might respond so that it creates greater presence and closeness. Things like that, that will take situations that might help you when things occur. And we're always looking for feedback to add to those suggested conversations. So if you guys have anything, please send them in. What are those special situations that either create conflict or they create cooperation for you? I would love to get your feedback along those lines. So we have 1 minute left. I want to thank you all for your time and attention. We're going to end on time, and I'll stick around for a while in case anybody has any questions. But 1:30 my time, we are officially over. So feel free to sign off. And again, I'll be here if you have any questions.
One more time. So next meeting is when?
It's
August
August.
19th.
And it's in the chat.
Yeah, that's that. That is actually a free, you might want to share that as free group that you're going to meet with to share with people more, to get more of an experience of what it's like to be part of the mastermind as well.
Okay. Like she said, that first meeting is totally free and it's just to get the experience of being in the mastermind. But we would love to have your participation help us create the ongoing mastermind, how we can make it more impactful for all participants.
To see the future partners.
What?
I can't wait to see the future partners and parents and friends. Future, in the
Beautiful.
future. Yeah, not is the past, the future ones. So thank you so much.
Beautiful. This was amazing,
Bye.
Bruce. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So we'll see ya soon. And it's like he said, I think it was step number 8 is like, it's about building that future you, that you want to be. And another thing about relationship is relationships don't just happen with our wife or our girlfriend or whatever. And I have a special needs brother. He's now 40 years old, but he's always had challenges, and it's all about the mind with him. And there's 5 of us. He does not listen at all to none of my other brothers. If they want to give him some advice or something, he's like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'll talk to my brother Juan. He's my bro. He's like, what's up, brother? But he can call me anytime and we talk on the phone all the time. But if I give him advice, he will listen to me. And the other brothers, he's like, blah, 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 blah. And but it's about building that relationship. I always took care of my brother growing up, and I always found ways to try to help him make his life a little bit easier. And always stepped in there for him, invited him, and took him to church and took him to different places. And he was like, wherever my brother is going, I'm going. I'm going to be right there with him. So that's another part of building that relationship with somebody's going through challenges. We have people like that in our family. This would definitely be a helpful resource. Tim shared something about his family, those challenges that he has. That has a lot to do with relationships as well. So thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody, thank you.